Using the Eluktronics manufactured Clevo chassis with the GTX 1070 in it, and I wanted to kind of show you guys a few things that I learned while using this and testing its thermals. As you can see here, I have a couple undervolts done. These helped lower the temperatures ultimately 10 degrees. This is running Overwatch for about an hour, epic settings, 120 frames a second, close to that. And then you'll see down here where the GPU is at. Now, when I initially got this, if I run Overwatch for an hour, something, decent with the graphics quality, these would run to about 80, and this one would get a little over 80, somewhat 82, 83. So I found that if I use throttle stop through the Obsidian manager, this one's nice because you get the throttle stop through Obsidian, as well as have the Obsidian tool for all the client downloads, all the driver updates. But I use this to lower the temperatures here, and I found that helped me a ton. And I ran into a couple issues getting it to work, and I couldn't find anything that was tailored specifically towards the i7 7700 HQ, as well as a GTX 1070 on the Eluktronics manufactured Clevo chassis. So I was just going to make a quick video to go over that. So you can do a quick Google search for this, or just get the standard throttle stop. But all I did is just boot it up, come into the F5 VR, and you'll just want to change the CPU core. Click the button for unlock adjustable voltage, and then I just did the full 125, and that seemed to work. I haven't really played with it much. I might get to it later, but just kind of gives you a base of where you should be at. Same thing with this one here, and then the Intel GPU, just a little bit less. This is only really for running the machine, not in discrete mode, because it does have the the hybrid capabilities through here. So something that I couldn't really find online that took me a little bit, because it wasn't like on any guides, is that for this to work, like every time you turn the computer on and off. So if I turn my computer on, it's gonna automatically adjust the values needed. See right here. So it'll automatically adjust the values needed. And the way you do that is you create a task. You just type like create task down here, I think. Create task schedule, create schedule. There you go, task scheduler. So when you load this up, it's pretty straightforward that you just want to, create a basic task, create a task. You just kind of follow through here, setting up a name for it, the description. I like nobody else uses my computer, but you kind of have those options to change it. Setting up that, and I can actually probably find mine so you can see exactly how I had it set up. Cool. So yeah, throttle stop, launch TS on boot. My settings for it. Triggers, you create a trigger for it to set up at log on. So that way when it boots, it works. Start program, you link it, what it's going to do, you link it to where the .exe is. Conditions, and then settings here for it. And then once you complete that, then the throttle stop will automatically run, and you can set it on the options to start minimized, so it doesn't like pop up on the screen. It'll actually just pop up like that. But that'll apply the settings every single time they boot. So that's how you get throttle stop to work. Now, before, how did I get this lower? That's the other thing I couldn't really find online for the GTX 1070 and the Pascal architecture. And so it took a little playing around to get it right, but I used the MSI Afterburner, and after I had done the undervolt here, this was still getting to like 80, and these were probably getting to like 75 or so. And they were still getting kind of hot, and I think that's because it shares a same heatsink, so it might just kind of be going through there. However, what you do for the GTX 1070 that I did was if you do Control F when you're in MSI Afterburner, you'll see that you get the voltage frequency curve editor, and typically it looks more or less like that, and that's what causes it to ramp up as it requires more volts. It starts spinning faster, and obviously it gets hotter. And so what I did was change the 850 voltage to a constant almost 1700 across the board. So when it gets going, it just cruises. Now you do lose performance by doing this, but with the GTX 1070, typically running Overwatch right now, I might have to adjust this when I get into a higher demand game, or I might have to reduce the graphics settings to allow for it to function correctly. But at least for Overwatch purposes, where I'm still getting 80 frames per second, like I said, it did drop it to about 20 frames a second. I was getting 100 by doing this, but it also decreased the GPU temp by about 10 degrees, and then also subsequently, a little over 10 degrees, subsequently changing the CPU to allow it to run a little smoother as well. With this one here, you just set it up as a profile, so it'll say curve here instead, and then all you have to do is save it to one of these presets, and then apply overclocking at system startup. And then I like to use the start with Windows, start minimized, so that way it's going to pop up minimized similar to this one, so you should know that it's been attached. So that's helped me with the 1070 and the 7700 HQ and the gaming laptops to help them run them cool. I haven't ran into anything that pushes these beyond 70 degrees, and that's with standard stuff from the manufacturer as far as the thermals. So you can always apply different thermal paste that might even reduce these more, but from the factory, it's shaping up quite well to be an awesome gaming laptop. I use it as my daily driver now for everything. So I just wanted to show you how you can get better thermals, and I couldn't find a real good video on the GPU for GTX 1070. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what you can do with your laptop if it's running the GTX 1070 or the 7700 HQ to allow for better thermals. Lower thermals make your components last longer as well. So that's it for today. I just wanted to show you guys that since I couldn't find anything else online. We'll see you next time.